Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is like a reset vlog for me. I'm gonna just kind of take you through some of the things I do monthly. So putting my TBR books for next month on the shelf in my bedroom, putting away the books that I read the previous month on my bookshelves, going through any books that I've accumulated over the month. Although this one will be a little different because I haven't done a haul in like 2.5 months roughly. So this will be December, November, and a little bit of October. And then we'll update my reading journal. We'll just kind of do all the things and we'll chat a little bit about the upcoming month. So the first thing we're going to do, and this is going to be a longer part than normal, I would not expect this at the beginning of every month, is we're going to go through the books that I've accumulated over the past 2.5 months at this point. But from now on out, it'll just be the previous month. So going to start with books that I accumulated that I have already read since it's been so long, and then we'll go through by genre after that. The one thriller I've got that I have read is One of Us is Back by Karen M. McManus. I've read the other two previously, and I was waiting for this one to come out in paperback, and it did, and I read it so that I could be done with this little kind of interconnected trilogy thing. I also purchased The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore and The Christmas Tree Farm by Laura Gilmore, and I have since read both of those as well. I don't know why I'm saying that. I have obviously read all of these. I'm reading the Zodiac Academy, but buying the books as they're republished, so this is the first one. It's the only one that's out as of the day that I'm filming this, but the second one does come out on my birthday. So I will be going to get that as a little birthday present to myself. I have read the first 3 at this point, but obviously only have the first physically. I have End of the Story by Melissa De La Cruz, and this is the last book in this little middle grade series. Skyshade by Alex Astor, 3rd book in the Lightlark series. Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a story compilation from the world of the Inheritance games, and I think this is the last like Inheritance game part of that, and then there's going to be like the Grandest Games trilogy, which one book's already out and that I have read it, and the second one comes out this summer. And then A Monsoon Rising by Thea Guanzon, which is the second book in the Hurricane Wars series. Loved this book. Okay, so that is all of the books that I got over the past 2.5 months that I've read. Now we'll go into unread. There's an embarrassing amount of books here, and I'm just gonna say, I had a lot of pre-orders. I get 5 book subscription boxes a month, and then I bought a lot of books on Book Outlet's $5.99 sale, so that is why I have a lot right now too, because I took advantage of that and bought quite a few series. But I got Dirty Diana by Jen Besser and Shanna Fest for my book of the month in November, and this is on my January TBR, so I should be reading this very soon. And then I picked up Frederick Bachman's The Winners. This is the 3rd book in the Beartown trilogy. I got the first 2 in a Frederick Bachman book set that I purchased I think the last haul, because I do want to get more into like my fiction, literary fiction, contemporary fiction era, but this one wasn't in there and it was on Book Outlet, so I picked it up. Annoyingly, it's like not the same size as the other 2, and it's matte where they're shiny, but whatever. It was $5. Thrillers, we'll start with like the horror one I picked up first, and that is If It Bleeds by Stephen King, and this is another story compilation by him. I think there's like only 5 or 6 in here though. They're a little bit longer than normal. Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. I now have all of her books, I think. I have to read 2 more and then I'll be caught up. But that was the only one I was missing that I didn't own. The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. Nothing More to Tell by Karen M. McManus. If you can't tell, I'm trying to read her backlist. Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. This is on my January TBR as well. And Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. I've been wanting to read this for a long time. Okay, now to romance. Is this the only one I got? Yeah, I don't think I got okay. So the one Afterlight subscription book I got, it was December's because I skipped November, and I think I already talked about October's. But that is I Did Something Bad by Paymo Thatwar. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is like a pretty interesting sounding book. I think it's like this journalist he comes to her. It's like Hollywood's hottest actor comes to her, and I think she's somewhere in Asia, and she gets like the exclusive, like she gets to do an exclusive interview, and when they're in the park one night, like somebody attacks her and they end up, I think, killing the person from what I understand, and then from there they just kind of have to like hide what they did, but there's feelings there and everything. It's a romance, so that sounds really interesting, and it's a Taylor Swift lyric from my favorite album. Taylor, when are we getting it? Never by Jessa Hastings. I know there's a lot of discourse about this book, but I've been very fascinated by it. I love Peter Pan, and Jessa Hastings is like hit or miss for me. Like, I loved some of the Magnolia Park books, but I didn't love all of them. So I'm curious to see where I land on this. And I've been wanting it, and I kind of said that I would wait to see it go on Book Outlet and buy it then, so that I wouldn't be mad if I hated it, because I wouldn't have spent that much money on it. Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. Very excited for this. The second book in this series comes out, I think, at the beginning of this year as well. First Down, as well as Breakaway by Grace Riley. I did get the third book in this. I don't have it yet, but I might have it by the time this video goes up. But I got it on Book Outlet because they did their end of the year sale, and they finally had the third one on there, so I picked it up. But love a good sports romance. This is on my January TBR. Years Between You by Miranda Melanie. This was the final book I got in the Romance Reveal Box subscription. I did cancel that one, so now I just get Book of the Month, Illumicrate Fantasy and Illumicrate Afterlight, which is their romance, and then Fairy Loot Adult and Fairy Loot Romantasy. So we'll see. I'm trying those all out because I don't love all of the books. And Illumicrate I'll probably keep just because I can skip without consequence, but I think Fairy Loot only lets you skip so many times before you just have to get the book. I don't know exactly. I've skipped once. The Striker by Anna Huang. Things I wanted to say. A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime. Promises We Meant to Keep. I'll Always Be With You, and You Said I Was Your Favorite by Monica Murphy. This is the Lancaster Prep series. This was all on Book Outlet, which is why I picked them all up. Don't know if I'll like them because I think they're bully romances, but I like a bully romance if it's done okay. I don't always love them though, so we'll see. But again, they were $5.99. If I unhaul them, I unhaul them. And then Stolen Heir, Savage Lover, Broken Vow by Sophie Lark. This is book 2, 3, and 5, I believe, in the Brutal Birthrights series. I have read the first book, Brutal Prince. I read that one just not that long ago. I enjoyed it. It was a quick read. I'm kind of in my mafia romance era. I'm liking these a little bit of a darker romance, but we'll see how long that lasts. And I did end up getting Heavy Crown in the other Book Outlet sale, so you'll see that in next month's haul. I still can't find that fourth one. They haven't had it, so. All right, now fantasy. I'll do my book subscriptions first. I got The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. I'm excited for this. I've heard a little bit of mixed reviews on it, but I really enjoyed The Dance of Thieves duology, and this is, I think, her adult debut, so I'm looking forward to giving this a go. It is, like, really thick, but it's also just a beautiful book, so even if I don't like it, I'm probably not going to get rid of it. The end paper art in this is stunning. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't make you want to read it. So, not going to talk about, obviously, the synopsis of all of these, or we'll be here all day. But this was Fairy Loot December. This was Illumicrate Fantasy December, and this is Himajang Luck by Makana Yamamoto. And I'm very excited for this because I think it's a heist, and it kind of reminds me of Star Wars with that little symbol there. So, and the book, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I opened this package and was like, that is probably one of the most gorgeous books I've ever purchased. A Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. This is November's Fairy Loot book. Let me know, by the way. I'm thinking of doing in February or March maybe a dragon fantasy book vlog where I read, like, I have a bunch of books that have dragons in them. I'm pretty sure. I have Sky on Fire, which I know has them. Gods Below, A Fire in the Sky. I feel like I have more, but maybe I don't. Oh, 2 other ones that we'll get to later. So I do have quite a few, and I could probably find some on, I know I have one. I could read the Zodiac Academy because there's a dragon in there, but I feel like I have enough. I have House of Dragons to be able to do a dragon themed vlog. If that's interesting to you, let me know in the comments. This was another Fairy Loot I got. It's The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. This is like a cozy fantasy, so I'm very excited for this, and this is also just a absolutely gorgeous book. And then my Illumicrate, I think this was October. I didn't have it when I did the last haul. Until We Shatter by Kate Dillon. This also sounds extremely interesting, so we shall see. This might be slightly heisty too. Yeah, this is another heist. So that's another vlog I could do. I think I have a few heist books. So let me know what you want to see in the comments about any of these books. If you want to see any of these in a vlog, let me know so that I can make sure to try to do one with that in it. The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig was my December book of the month. I was so excited that this was an option because this was released earlier in the year, just a few months ago, I think, and earlier in 2024. And I wanted to get it, but I just hadn't pulled the trigger on buying it yet. And then I saw this was an option because I guess every so often they'll go back and pick a book that was just super popular from earlier in the year that they missed and put it on as an option. So when I saw this, it wasn't even an option. Like with the other ones, I immediately picked that one. I have Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. My mother purchased this book for some reason thinking it was a thriller, but she must have not read the back because the back makes it very obvious that it's a fantasy. And she tried to read it and didn't like it, so she gave it to me. I'm gonna give it a go. We'll see. I'll always try a book. May DNF it, but. The Monarchs by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. This is the second book in the Ravens series that I read. The first one like not that long ago, like a month or two ago, and this is on my January TBR. The Traitor's Kiss by Erin Beatty. This I picked up at Barnes & Noble when I was just kind of in there killing time one day. Sounds really interesting. It's a trilogy. It's complete. It's YA. I'm hoping it'll just be a good fun time. It does look like it has pretty good ratings on Goodreads and that too, so I figured I'd pick it up and give it a shot. The Charlotte Vale by Shelby Mahurin. I still have to read the last two books in the Serpent and Dove series before I read this because it is in this world and it's just a duology. The second one comes out later this year, but I'm gonna wait for paperback like I did with this one, which I do not regret at all because the sprayed edges on this, absolutely stunning. The cover itself, absolutely stunning. Picked it up when I was in Walmart the one day and I saw it and I did not need to buy another book, but I still did because I have no self-control. The final book I have is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, the first book in the Kindred's Cursed saga. Everybody's talking about this. It is on Kindle Unlimited. I may still read it on my Kindle, I don't know. But these books are stunning, and I feel like it's a series I could really like. So I picked up the first one. If I like the first one enough to continue on, I will continue buying them as they come out. I think the second one at least is out right now as well. So I've heard a lot of people like it. I heard a lot of people like it but don't like the main character, but I don't know. And then the final few books I got for Christmas. The first is Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. I've almost picked this book up so many times, and my mom kind of took me in to Barnes & Noble on Black Friday and was like, pick a few books because I don't know what you have and what you don't have or what you want. So this was one of the ones I picked up because it was finally on the buy one get one half off table. I also picked up The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. These are being republished and they are stunning. They're shiny, so it's kind of hard to see, but I've been wanting to read this series for a while as well, and this was the other buy one get one half off book that I picked up, so excited to see how I like that series. Another book that's just recently been traditionally published is Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling. This is another book that has dragons in it, so I could put that in that vlog. Do I know anything else about it? No, but it's got dragons. That's all that matters. And I believe this one does as well. Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. This has, I believe, dragons in it as well. If anybody has read any of these fantasy books, I assume the fantasy books are the only ones that are going to have dragons in them. Let me know if I'm missing one, if I didn't mention one that you've read that does, so that I can put that on the list as well. Because if there's not a dragon on the cover, I don't know about the plot. I'm probably not going to know. There's also a big old one coming out this month that has dragons in it, but I'm probably going to read it before the end of the month anyway, so I could put it in that vlog if I really cared to, but we'll see. Alright, so that is all the books that I purchased over the past 2.5 months that are new to my collection as of now, and now we'll move on to some of the other stuff that I talked about at the beginning. Okay, so now we're going to go through my reading journal for 2025 and update what I can for now. Obviously it's January, so there's not much to do, but I can add my TBR for January, the books I picked, the 12 books I picked, as well as add the books that I've read for the winter TBR because December counts as winter. So the books that I read in December that are in my winter TBR in here, we're gonna update that too. And I can show you any changes that I've made since the last time I showed my journal, which was a bit ago. There were still things that were missing. So I don't know the best way to do this because I don't have like a way to do an overhead shot well. So cover, we've seen all of this. I did add my goals in. So I have read 200 books, expand my genres. I did leave that basically pretty open because I don't want to put any amount on that. I want to just like make an effort to read more of different genres than I typically do. Reread 5 books, read 50% of my TBR at the from the beginning of the year. So you will be seeing that video in, I think, a week from when this one comes out. So you'll be seeing that. And I had 97 books. So that's 48 books, 49 books basically to read, half of that. And then at least 2 Kindle books per month so that I'm using my Kindle Unlimited. We did see my 25 and 25. I did do a video of that for Bookmas. If you missed that, you can go see the 25 books I plan on reading in 2025. I have obviously not added anything to the Pixel page yet. That'll be something we do together next month once I have read some books for the year. But I did add my entire physical TBR to this page that I will be going into 2025 with. Series that I plan on starting this month, I did add those in. Actually, this year in general, so I'm not going to be starting Beartown, Truly Devious, or Lancaster Prep, or Mistborn, or The Sacred Stones, but I do plan on reading those this year. I did do series that I want to read in 2025 as well, and those are series that I would like to finish, or I think all of the ones I did actually in that video are complete series that I can finish, so that is what has been added here, and then I've been keeping up with this as I've been going along, but in future months we'll do that together. I don't have anything obviously for my tracker pages yet because we have not read any books yet this month, and then physical TBR, don't have anything yet to add either, so the beginning of November you'll see a book haul, plus we'll add those books in. Yearly stats, nothing to update yet. And then now we're to my winter TBR and releases. I have been going through and highlighting off the books from my release lists that I've actually read, just to kind of see, these are the books I'm looking forward to when I make this list. Am I actually reading them or listening to them? I did read 3 of the books in December so far. So A Monsoon Rising, The End of the Story, and You're Dead to Me. And I do think I'm getting Under Lock and Key in my Afterlight book for the month of January. So I will eventually read that, but I don't have it yet. And then The Party by Natasha Preston I have not read yet. So January coming out that I'm looking forward to is Beautiful Ugly, Onyx Storm, Once Smitten, Twice Shy, A Sea of Unspoken Things, Beg, Borrow, or Steal, and Spiral. So we'll see if I read, I mean, I do at least plan on reading Onyx Storm, to be completely honest, in the month of January, so we can hopefully update that next month. And then this is my winter TBR. And I did read these 5 books in the month of December, so we're gonna put those covers on. I do use a Sprocket, an HP Sprocket, to print my covers for my book journal. I do think that's easier for me than, I do have a printer, but I personally think it's easier for me just to do this because I don't have to think about buying ink, because that doesn't use ink. I just have to have the papers, the zinc papers for it. So I did read Sky Shade, A Monsoon Rising, The Second Chance Year, Masters of Death, and All Roads Lead Here. So let's add those in. Okay, so for my seasonal TBRs, I just put the title and the author, and then if or when I read the book, I will add the cover after that. However, for the monthly TBRs, I do plan on adding those in now, and then once I read the book, I will add the rating underneath it. So we don't really have much to do. So we don't really have too much to do in December other than add these, and then I will go over some spreads that I've added since I did my video, and none of them should need updated yet either, but I will just show you what I've added. So again, I have my different book covers for the month. I have Dirty Diana by Jen Besser and Shauna Fest, Red Rising by Pierce Brown, Misters of Lies by K.M. Enright, The Women by Kristen Hanna, An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson, Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny, You Like It Darker by Stephen King, You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus, The Monarchs by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page, First Down by Grace Riley, and then I did switch out Air for Ember in the Ashes because when I posted my TEBR for January, I had a few of you tell me to read this first, so no issue. We're just going to swap it out and keep with the timeline. And then Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. So those are the 12 books I chose for the month of January, and I did leave a little bit more of a gap on the bottom to do my star rating on the bottom when I read those. What I have added in the meantime, I decided to add a series started versus series completed tracker. So at the end of the month, I will write down all of the series that I've started in January, and if I've finished any series that I'm already in the middle of, I will write that over here, and then I think I'm going to color code them based on this side, so that I know like monthly how that tracks out. I don't know that I'll complete any series in January because obviously it's the beginning of the year, so we'll see. But I just kind of thought it would be interesting. I'm not putting any series in here that I've already started. It'll just be completely new ones I start, and then anything that I'm starting or finishing, like that I've already started, will go into completed, just so I can see how many I'm starting versus how many I'm completing each month, and then overall in the year. And then I added a yearly favorite, which really should probably say monthly favorites, but I put yearly, and we're just gonna stick with it. So I put a spot for every month of the year, and then at the end of the month I will put a book cover for my favorite book for the month in there. I'm not gonna rank them other than that. I'm just gonna pick whichever book stood out to me the most for the month. Then I made like a genre tracker for each genre that I plan on reading, and then each square corresponds with the same months, and I try to use the same color codes as I did over here. So at the end of January, I will write in a number of how many fantasy, romance, thriller, whatever, that I read for the month. Over here, I have a book club that I do go to every once in a while for the area that I'm in, but I thought it'd be interesting, even if I don't read the book, to put the book cover in for each book that they pick this year, just to see if they're books that I do want to read. So this will kind of let me know if I want to continue on following this club next year or not, and then I will write the date of the meeting time and the date of the meeting for the month, and then the location, just in case I do end up going. And it's just kind of nice to track it because they do try to pick like a different local place every month. But I did notice they started picking a lot of thrillers towards the end of the year, and I don't know that I want to be a thriller only book club. I'd like a little bit of variety, so that's kind of why I wanted to do this, to track what kind of genres and what types of books they're picking, and then this will also let me know if I rate it, if I actually read the book that month. Next, I made a spread to track my rereads for the year, and then any 5-star reads. So any book that I give 5 stars in January, we will add here at the beginning of the next month. And then I added a superlatives spread, and how I did it was this side, they're the same. So this has 12 and this has 12, and they're the same. So I did January through June will be on this side, and then July through December will be on this side, just to kind of not make it too overwhelming, because I do read a lot of books, and at the end of the year, it's really hard to kind of go back and look at the 200 plus books that I read and pick like what my most anticipated one, what the best debut was, what the best cover was. I think it'll be better to maybe break it up into months, and I'll use these for my tags. So I'll do a tag in June, beginning of July we'll see, and then end of the year I'll do it, and I'll use these ones for that. And then in this year, I do want to try to do the 52 books in 52 weeks. So this is something you can find online. There's 52 prompts that are put out into this group, and they're all kind of different, and you don't have to read one every week, but I figured it'd be cool to see, like, without really trying. I'll put a little bit of effort in, but I just kind of want to see like how many I can fill in with the books that I already plan on reading, just to keep variety better, I think, in the books I'm choosing to read and purchase. So like the first one is Pun in the Title, and if I did have a book that I own that already kind of fits that, I did put it in there just so that I think about it whenever I go to add these. So at the end of January, we'll go through and add any covers to this that fit with the books that I read for the month. There are 52, so I don't know that I'll hit all of them, but it'd be interesting to see just like what I can do. And I'm gonna try not to repeat any. So if I have one that's maybe harder to fill in my mind, I will put that book in over, even if it meets like 2 prompts. Like there's one that starts with the letter N, and I put never in there, but then there's also like a fairy tale retelling. That might be a better one to put never in, because the chances of me getting another fairy tale retelling might be slightly lower than me finding another book that starts with the letter N. So we will see. The title is a spoilers one. I don't know what the heck I'm going to use for that one, but some of these other ones I think will be a little bit easier to do than like a character with red hair. I know that the character in A Fire in the Sky has red hair because there's character art in there. She has red hair. There's some fun ones in here. Genre chosen by someone else. I'm gonna have my sister pick a book for me when we go on vacation, just whatever she wants. I'm not gonna give her any guidance other than yes, I already own that book, or yes, I've already read it. Other than just pick something you think I would like. It doesn't have to be even a genre that she's comfortable with, and I told her that, so she's excited to pick for that one. I think that this will be an interesting thing to kind of just see. So that is the last one I wrote, and then the next pages will just be like wrap-ups for the year. So that is the update for the beginning of this month. Hopefully next month will be a little bit more exciting for that, because I'll already have read books, so we can fill out some more spreads in there. But I just kind of wanted to go over the changes I've made since I did my reading journal video for Bookmas. So no, it wasn't even for Bookmas, it was before Bookmas. So it's been like over a month. So I'm liking it so far. It's getting chunky. I did do most of my spreads like ahead of time just so that I'm not working on this too much throughout the year. It'll be more just like updating it rather than creating new spreads, and that's kind of what I wanted going into the year. I wanted everything done. So that's all for the video. So on to the next thing. The next thing we're gonna do is, this is actually a few days later from the last clip that you saw, but I wanted to do just like a final flip through of my reading journal from 2024. So we have the cover page, my goals for the year. So I had a goal to read 150 books, 10 new to me authors, which I did really quickly, and I do read a lot of new authors, so I did not keep this goal for the year. I can't think for next year. And then I wanted to read all the Shadowhunters books, so I had the Cassandra Clare one. I did do that. I did want to reread and annotate Harry Potter, but I didn't get around to that. And then I wanted to read 10 nonfiction books. I read 9, so I got pretty close. I'm not going to do that with nonfiction again this year just because I feel like I was forcing myself to read them and I wasn't enjoying them as much as I would have maybe if I really just wanted to read them. So I didn't do that. And then, you can't really see this last one here, but it was to read 50% of my physical TBR, and I started the year with 88 books, so 44 of those, which I did read pretty quickly into the year. I did keep that one for next year. So we did obviously just go over those, so you'll see that. This was my 24 for 2024. So on this side, this is the only side that I didn't read books on. The Liars Club got pushed out to 2025, so the book's not out anymore, which was why I was very careful about picking books that I wasn't 100% sure were coming out, at least at the beginning part of 2025, for my 25 books. And then Bloodguard kept getting pushed out, and then I ended up canceling my order for it. And then it came out, I think, in like October, and I didn't pick it up after that. I may still read it. I've heard pretty good things about it. And then the rest of them I read, and I just colored them in as I went along. You saw that next year it'll be a little bit different. I'm just going to do the book covers when I finish it. I did a little book tracker here. I'm getting rid of this and doing like that pixel thing for 2025. I also did a shelfie. I am not doing the shelfie this year because it's pretty, but it gives me no information that I don't already have. And then this is where I started to track my series for the year. I did finish all of these, or catch up on all of these. And then it expanded into this side as well. I obviously ran out of room and just kind of stopped at one point. But the only 2 that I didn't finish on these lists this year are Serpent and Dove and The Renegades. And I do have the other 2 books in Serpent and Dove. That is a series I want to finish in 2025. Renegades might have been 2. I don't remember. This was my physical TBR list. So everything on here, on this page, which is the first page, has been read. And then it expanded quite embarrassingly. Most of the books on here have been read other than 6 books on here have not. And then over here, it's a little bit more. 13 on that page. And then I did stop tracking at one point because I ran out of room and I didn't want to add any more pages. But a good chunk of the books I haven't read, I did accumulate in the second half of the year. So here's the alphabet challenge. I got everything except V and X, which it's probably very hard to find books that start with those letters. I did do a little rating system in here for this year, for 2024. I did not continue this into 2025 because, quite honestly, most of the time, I rate on vibes and just how I feel when I finish the book. And I could remember absolutely nothing about the book once I finish it if you ask me 10 minutes after I finish the book, but still think it was a 5-star just because he gave me the 5-star feelings. So that's just how I rate. I rate on feelings, on vibes, on how the book made me overall, like how I feel when I finish it. Here's my year at a glance filled out. So I just did each month and I tracked books, pages, Kindle Unlimited books, physical books, and then the average rating. I did keep something very similar to this for 2025. And then I'll just quickly go through my monthlies. So my spreads all look the same. I have a little bit of like compulsive disorder where like I like it when things match. Granted, I did like different colors for everything, but overall, this format never changed throughout the year, and it will not, my format for next year will not change either, or for this year. But I did my monthly TBR and then my little calendar where I tracked like how long it took me to read it, and then I would just highlight when I finished. At the end of the month, I'd fill in number of books and number of pages. The genres and the rating I filled out as it went along. The new releases and the bought and received, I did take that off of the monthly, and I'm just going to do that on like one full spread. Well, the new releases is done by season, and then bought received is it's on my physical TBR accumulation for next year. And then audiobooks I tracked down here, which I will still be tracking just a little bit differently. And then the beginning of the year, I started off with putting the little cover, writing down the main character names, because again, my mind sometimes completely does a data dump when I'm done reading a book. Sometimes. I can usually probably tell you what happened. Names I suck at, and that's in real life and unreality too, so. And then I just did the author, the genre, the medium, like if it was a hardback, paperback, Kindle, library book, whatever. The pages, the rating, and then my spice level. And then I just did a little bit of a review. I rated some higher spice things at the beginning of the year. But that's just how it continued on for the rest of that month. I did have to change this later on in the year because I was starting to run out of pages. And then February, like I said, very similar to January. It will stay the same throughout. I did read every single one of my monthly TBRs this year too. So proud of myself for that. Again, this is just repetitive. I did keep up with this pretty well this year. March was obviously a nice little green theme. I am Irish, so I take that very seriously. More. I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible. If you want to see something in more detail, let me know, but I can't show too much on these because there could be spoilers. April, back to a little bit of blue because I did like a rain theme. I did change the number of books that I picked a month for my monthly TBR. Sometimes I picked like 8, sometimes I picked 10, sometimes I picked a lot more than that, as we saw towards the end of the year. But there's May. I picked 10 in May. Next year, it will be 12 every month. So that I will keep consistent, at least 12 that I choose. And like I've said before, those will be physical books and physical books only. And then I did DNF a book there. So I did write that I DNF'd a book there. Soft DNF'd. And then, what was I even saying? Oh yeah, so the 12 books I pick in my videos will be physical books on my TBR, and then I will try to read Kindle books outside of that, but I'm not going to choose those in those TBR videos, just so that I know I'm reading through the books that I purchased. Trying to make this, like I said, as fast as possible. July, obviously it's a little 4th of July theme. I read a lot of romance books in July. July was my heaviest reading month. I read 31 books in 31 days. We'll go over that at the end because I do have like an end of the year spread. But you'll see that in July I was still tracking normally. I forget what month it changed. I think we're coming up on it to when I had to stop doing. I had to do like 4 per page for a while. So August. There, I changed it. So I did 4 per page here, and then I kept like, I put the cover page again, and then I did the characters on one side, and then I still kept the other stuff for that. And then you'll see again it does change in the next month because I was still running, actually it's changed in this month, I was running out of pages again. So I went to 6 and I just put like the picture and then the genre, the pages, the spice, and the rating, which will kind of be similar to what I do this year. I'm not going to be like writing reviews for every book because I very likely will not go back and read them. There's September, and then I kept the 6 per page for the rest of the year. October. November. It's a lot quicker to flip through them when there's 6. See, like November, I had a ton of books on my monthly TBR because I was trying to read through. I was being very and then December, optimistic on what I think I could get. I forgot to fill that one in. On what I think I could get to by the end of the year. So then I quickly just did some end of the year spreads. I put all of my 5-star reads here so that I can easily just go back at the end of the, if I ever want to see like what books are my 5 stars, I have a nice little list there. It's going to be a little different in next year's. And then I did a little yearly wrap up. Total books I read, 286. Average per month was 223.8. I did not do the pages yet. The highest pages was July with 12,326 pages. Books was also July with 31. The lowest month read for pages was January with 7,377. And the books lowest months were January and September. I read 19 books in both of those months. It was just less pages in January. And then this is my genre overview. So like overall, how many romance, fantasy, thriller, nonfiction, yada, 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 that I read this year. And that's it. That was my first reading journal. I'm pretty proud of myself for keeping up with it throughout the year. I do have a few things to go back in and finish up, but you got the gist of what it was. And I'm excited for next year because I definitely am taking it a little bit more seriously and enjoying it more, because it is something that I am enjoying doing, is being more creative with my journal, and it is something to take my mind off of things as well as reading. So yeah. Next up, we're gonna put away the books that I read in December. Okay, so now we're going to put away the books that I read this month. So that is these two shelves here. And I did rearrange a little bit from the last time y'all saw my bookshelves, but I'm constantly moving things around because I'm never satisfied with how it looks. But yeah, I do have an absolutely blank shelf right there and there, but we'll fill it up, no worries. Trying to give you the best view that I can here, but you're not gonna be able to see every shelf. All done. So that's it for this month. Oh, no, I missed a book. So that's it. I'm also going to show you some cute things I got for Christmas that I completely forgot about until right this moment. But my parents got me these little dragon bookends, which are adorable, and I have been wanting bookends. I didn't even tell them I wanted bookends, so this was a nice little surprise. But these are hefty, so I'm looking forward to being able to, like, eventually when I do shelves up to the top, being able to use these over here where I can't do any more shelves to, like, hold some selection dragon books together. My sister also got me this, which, if you can't tell, I love dragons. They are the superior mythical creature. So it just says Emily G's Library. And then the final thing, I got Legos for Christmas, and my parents, I asked them to, I was like, if you're gonna give me Legos, can you buy it when this is the free gift? Because I really want the little, if it'll focus, the little girl, because she kind of looks like me, except her hair is really short. She even has glasses. So this was a fun little surprise. That's it for putting the books away. So the last thing we're going to do is put the books from my TBR cart that I chose for the month onto my shelf in my bedroom, which is where I put like my active TBR, just because it's more visual there for me rather than being with all the other books. And I'm going to start using my TBR cart to put books that I get throughout the month on it, so that when I do the haul at the beginning of the next month, they're already separate. So we'll just quickly, no order, just gonna throw them on here, and that'll be it. So those are the 12 books that I chose in the video, my TBR video, and like I said before, I did swap out Air with An Ember in the Ashes just because I should read this first, apparently, and I'm going to trust you guys on that. So I did swap those out, but these are the 12 books other than that I chose. And then I also have 4 other books here that I'd like to get to, so I'm going to put them on like the lower shelf just to keep them separate from my actual TBR. But there's some books off my like winter TBR and stuff, and then there's 2 books here for a video that I want to do. So that is the TBR for the month. And that's it for the video. So thank you so much for watching. I'm hoping that this kind of becomes like a repetitive video that I do every month. If you want to see other things in this video, let me know. If you liked it, let me know. If there's things that you want separate, again, I'm open to suggestions, but I just kind of thought this would be a nice like bookish reset every month because it's stuff that I do already anyway. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.